Welcome to the Newsmakers Podcast. I'm Billy Hollowell, and this is a show where we go behind the headlines every day to bring you an interview with a pastor, entertainer, politician, or other notable news figure. And this is a show, again, it's daily, but it's based on our weekly TV show, which is also called Newsmakers. You can watch it on the CBN News channel and also on our YouTube page. And on this show, every day, we dive deep. It's a little more longer form with one of the people who you will often see on our Newsmakers show or across the CBN News platforms. On today's Newsmakers, should Christians fear artificial intelligence? Andre Echevarria, leader of U.S. digital strategies at Crew, joins us to discuss that and plenty more. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. The topic on the docket is artificial intelligence, and this is an area you've looked a lot at. I'm going to just start with the big, broad question that I know you hear a lot. Is artificial intelligence, AI, is it ethical?
It's a great question, right? I get that question all the time. Is it ethical? I would say that rather than debating that part, I would say, can we redeem it for the glory of God? And that's actually what we're doing here. We're using a lot of that technology to be able to actually help people discover a relationship with Jesus, go deeper in their relationship with Jesus, or maybe even share their current relationship with Jesus with their neighbors. So is it ethical? Depends how you use it, right?
Yeah, it's like every other technology, right? I mean, the internet, some of the most horrific things happen on the internet as a result of having the internet. And yet, how many people have you seen? I mean, you head up Crew's U.S. digital strategies, right? You're the leader of that. Yeah. How many times have you seen the internet lead people to the Lord, I would imagine, over the years? Thousands upon thousands of times, right?
Right. Yeah, multiple times. There's actually a few stories, and even one that really directly ties into AI that if I could, I'd love to share with you.
Absolutely.
There's a quick text that I got. This actually was just last week. And what our friend says is, all of my life, I felt like an outcast. I'm reading you her text. It's more powerful in her words. I never grew up with a true role model in my life. I was never raised religious. My story starts after 2020. I tried to make the best of it through COVID, but I felt like something is missing. Plus, on top of high school starting, I felt very isolated. However, at the end of my sophomore year, I decided to give Jesus a try. Christians were coming up on my For You page on social media, so I decided to research more about it. Eventually, I got listening to the Bible every day and eager to know more about God. I think that this is a really great point to illustrate how we're even using AI in these spaces. So let's say that our friend here has certain characteristics, like maybe they like certain brands and certain type of posts. So we're able to use AI to find more people like her and then be able to put our offers and messages of hope in front of them. So we're using the AI built into some of our advertising platforms to be able to find more people that we can actually share the gospel with. We're also using some of the people that are showing aptitudes, whether they're downloading things of our website or using our apps, being able to help them understand that we have an opportunity here for you to download resources that help you talk to your neighbor. Whether that resource is in a certain language, a certain context of sport, maybe our families or youth, we're able to actually provide that for you. So we're using AI in a lot of different spaces like this to come up, to help us be able to contextualize a lot of this.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating thing to consider. Let's say Christians say, we're not going to have anything to do with AI. It's going to be used for nefarious purposes. It's already being used for nefarious purposes. You think about countries like China, places where governments restrict people's rights, right, how AI is already being used and will continue to be used. If Christians don't rise up and say, hey, we're going to learn this and use it to bring light into the darkness, what happens? Let's say we don't do it at all. We abandon it. What do you think happens?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, we just lose an opportunity. I think that that's the case, right? We should take every opportunity to share the hope, the eternal hope we have. And we just miss an opportunity. When I think about the term AI, a lot of people use the definition of artificial intelligence. One of the ways that we like to reframe it is to think about it as AI signifying an advanced intern. So if you think about it as an advanced intern, an intern, you obviously wouldn't let them run your radio show, Billy, right? You'd have them, but maybe do some research and maybe bring up some topics, ideas, and some things that you can then fine tune for the effort and the outcome that you want for the show. Well, we're doing the same thing, right? We're using it to help us analyze documents, look at analytics, maybe even create or even translate in spaces that it would be really pertinent to have a different type of language or a different type of cultural context. And we're using to advance that. We've seen really great fruit from that. We're seeing a lot of people engage with the material, but I can't stress this enough. Guardrails are crucial. And we have guardrails built in throughout the whole, throughout all of our activities, because without the guardrails, you do kind of move into that scary space where it's kind of taking over.
Yeah. Or even an unethical space where you're allowing the AI to do everything to write. You can't go out there and publish a book that was written by AI, right? And say that you wrote it. I mean, I think that is not ethical. It may be legal. I don't know. There's some, debate about this, but it's not ethical. So when it comes to this, would you say, and I don't know if you can answer this yet, but that as a result of AI, you could actually say that you have seen definitively people come to Christ in your experience and more people coming to Christ as a result of using the technology?
Yeah, I would say that I don't have any examples of people coming to Christ, but I definitely have examples of people taking multiple steps in their spiritual journey. And what that does is that puts our field staff and those who the Lord has put in certain spaces to take advantage of that opportunity in the moment. I will say this, there's some helpful cautions that we really lay into here to make sure that we're always making sure that there's enough space for our people to do what they do, but always being guided by the Holy Spirit. And some of those cautions really include, we avoid fully automated core spiritual content. AI doesn't have a story. We have a story. And that story, God continues to write. So we're just using AI, again, as I defined, as an advanced intern, right?
Yeah.
We don't
I love that.
Voices. Yeah.
I love that example. I love that example because I think that helps people understand the intern serves a role. It can be helpful, but it's not driving the work, right? It's not driving the story. When you look at how you're using AI now, and I know this is rapidly evolving and changing, when you look to the future, what place do you think it is going to have in the future of evangelism? Talk a little bit about maybe even different ways you would love to see it be used conceptually that it isn't now.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have three that we're driving towards. One of it is customization. When I think about how people that we're reaching need to hear the word or the stories, having that context, right? We speak very different to the folks that we're reaching to in Africa than the folks that we're reaching to in Peru, than the folks that we're reaching to in Boston, right? Their context, their livelihoods are completely different. So customization is definitely one that I see us taking great advantage of, and we're actually doing that in some spaces. Translation is the other one, whether it's translating books or resources, being able to have a resource and translate it into 60, 70, 80 languages on demand in minutes rather than months and years is a huge advantage for how we're accelerating the ministry. And then I think about creation. We are a large ministry, 16,000 staff, serving in over 190 countries. And some of the teams are really blessed. My team is a pretty large team. So we have a lot of resources, but we have a lot of people in the field that maybe it's only one or two of them. And being able to actually help them prototype faster is a great advantage to them when they might not have a graphic designer or a copy editor. Being able to have AI help with those tasks is really helpful.
That's amazing. And I think it helps people understand. I also think about the Great Commission, which I know obviously the work you do hinges on the Great Commission. It's motivated by the Great Commission. And you think about all these people groups that are out there where the language hasn't yet been reached, or the people haven't yet been reached with the gospel. They don't have translations of the Bible, and how much work goes into translating the Bible, and how I would imagine AI can expedite that once it's programmed with the language to really, almost instantaneously translate entire chapters, entire books of the Bible, I would imagine.
Yeah. And in our particular case, we're not translating the Bible, but we're definitely translating gospel presentations. And when you think about being able to walk someone through, whether it's the Romans Road or whatever it is, that you're able to share your faith with someone, being able to have that on the ready is really powerful. I got to actually practice that in Dubai during a mission trip, where I was able to look up the information in English and being able to translate it into Farsi. And I had a 3-hour conversation with someone where I got to hear about their faith, and I got to share my faith. So it's definitely an accelerator in my mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think more broadly, even outside of those translators, but you brought up something very important, even sharing messages, the barriers that we've had in the past. If somebody doesn't speak English and you don't know the language they speak, not being able to communicate. And here you are sharing the gospel and your faith journey with somebody else. I mean, you couldn't have done that 20 years ago. And here you're able to do that now because of this technology. And again, it doesn't excuse you said there are safeguards. There always have to be safeguards, right? Letting our kids on a computer in our own homes, we have to have safeguards, right? So pretty powerful stuff. What comes next in terms of projects? And I know that's a broad question because you do a lot there at Crew, but when it comes to AI, how will you be using it in the near future?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of our senior leaders has this phrase that I always I like to repeat because it's just so good. Everyone is a candidate for something, right? So we want to use AI to create that something. And we're always looking for what are our audiences telling us? What our older generation audiences need is very different than what our Gen Z audience is looking for, right? So what we're trying to do is really real time, understand where you are and be able to provide you what your next best step is. And that could be anything from going on a mission trip or partnering financially, or maybe even just downloading something that you can share with your friends, maybe even using the context of sport to be able to share your faith with someone. We got lots of big events coming. That tends to be a really good, easy use case that we're seeing.
Well, I so appreciate you taking the time, breaking it all down. We'll have you back again to talk as new projects develop. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Billy. Great to be with you.
That's all for today's Newsmakers podcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode of the show, and also head over to the CBN News YouTube channel and the CBN News channel to watch Newsmakers every week. We'll see you soon.